Hello everybody, Mitch Leslie here with Matthew Morello, bringing you yet another of our collection of Overwatch 2 playtests shot during the 2021 playoffs match. We've got Dorado when it's daytime.
Yes, and for the blue team, we have some of the members of the San Francisco Shock, and for the red team, it'll be some of the members from the Dallas Fuel. They were able to play an early version of Overwatch 2. As you see right now, Dorado may look a little bit different to you guys. Well, that's because it's at the day. And you see kind of I believe this was used in like one of their, like a mission or something like that early on, or there was some kind of game you could play this, but you couldn't play it in multiplayer. But obviously the game's changed with Overwatch 2 now, and it'll be the blue team, the Shock, on defense to kick things off.
Yeah, well, of course, this is a payload map, an escort map rather. So, well, you know, with the payload starting outside of the attacker's spawn, they're gonna have to escort it through the first point, which is probably one of the most treacherous parts of this map, or at least it was in Overwatch 1 gameplay. You'll see the Shock already considering to set up on the high ground here, and Super's going to drop down and be quite the nuisance here. So Winston play from both sides. At this time, we've already been teased Winston's sort of a slight tweak to him in terms of a longer range capacity map.
Yes, he's got that alternate fire that shoots at a little bit longer range, and obviously with the Sombra rework that is in, you see the constant hacks there from Glister on the high ground. Hanbin doesn't lose his abilities, just loses them for 1 second, but takes some extra damage from Glister and co. But see, they're able to, just like in the Overwatch League, support Violet on the high ground, and he's able to get some kills early. Yeah,
it's the Discord orb that makes it pretty tough for the Winston to stick around there. Hanbin probably knew exactly what he was walking into. So it's a false start here for this Dallas Fuel squad, and they'll be back. Of course, Sparkle on the trace is always going to be a threat. Here's another dive in. This one looks a little bit better as Sparkle's able to eliminate Violet, and now he's looking for more targets. Look at the biotic grenade connection there on towards Tayo, crucially preventing him healing from that biotic field.
And you can see this looks like a kind of classic Overwatch, right? Where you had that fast, aggressive dive type of play style coming out from the Dallas Fuel players on that red team, where you still have that teamwork, that fast pace, and they're able to go right in that time, make a play for Violet as he switches right off the Zen now, goes over to Batiste.
Super backs up there. He looks like he got caught a little bit too far ahead, and Hanbin's going to go straight over the top, landing on Glister immediately. FD God has to use a defensive biotic grenade to keep himself alive, and Hanbin quickly gets out, but Sparkle is on the hunt in the back line. Payload still coming up from the choke here, and here's the Tracer. This could be nasty. Pulse Bomb available, but Sparkle may not need it.
Yes, I mean, he's developed into one of the better Tracers, throughout the season this year. But 3 kills for the Shock as they're going to make their way back onto the payload to try and play some defense, and looks like they're going to get it here. So you're going to see a hold now. So you have Tayo switching over to the Soldier 76. Soldier at the beginning of Overwatch, right, Mitch, he got a ton of play, and then as time went on, fell a little bit out. But I think in this new world of 5v5, right, where there's more space and more opportunity to make plays, that you can kind of use him as like a flanking type of, tracer with a little bit more long-range capability.
And obviously the heavy pulse rifle gets a revamped sound as well. Sounds vastly different, and it's environmentally specific as well. Here he goes. Nanoblade here for Doha, going to drive straight on in. I think he lost sight of FD God for a moment there, but he's able to follow him up and find 2 quick ones. The Nano actually went over towards Super here, but he's not able to do too much to stop the march of the Dallas Fuel, and that's an immortality field removed. Sparkle deals with Violet quickly.
Yeah, and you'll see the payload making its way towards that first checkpoint. This would unlock the second part of the map and more time. So see that ding, that'll be the first point there scored. And they'll move the payload from checkpoint A now to opportunity to take checkpoint B.
Fire of Mercy now for the Shock, but Tayo is... Well, there's one hit scan in play, but FD God wasn't really able to do too much to help him there at all. Hanbin, notice he's firing off some of those longer range shots here to try and finish kills. Super there, he almost eats it. Primal Rage available for Hanbin. This is where things get scary for San Francisco, and he's going to pop it straight away and go after the Mercy.
You see everything used here on defense to try and contain Hanbin. His FD God just trying to fly around and stay alive, but that's going to be 2 for Hanbin. The payload will continue to move, and I think that's something you brought up that's really interesting, right? Is that when you play Overwatch now, when you're Winston, sometimes you'll dive on a target, and you'll put down your bubble, you'll do some damage, and they're able to get away, and you can't really finish that player off safely, right? You have to overextend throughout your bubble. Is that a nice kill there from Sparkle? With the secondary fire, with Winston able to do a little bit more long-range damage, you can actually make those kills happen, where you don't have to push outside of your bubble. You can play from inside if you have that aim, right? So adding another skill element to Winston's kit, you're able to finish those kills off.
Interestingly there as well, when you find a kill, it sort of indicates to you to what degree or what percentage of the target's health you've actually, dealt in order to find that kill. Sound barrier here for Jexer. Take note, it's green health now. And that will decay, of course, over time, as is the case with his ultimate in general. Jexer, of course, always the Lucio aficionado here. Trade of kills back and forth, but it's the immortality field from Violet that kept the shot going. Now that's out of the picture, and Jexer going to return to the cart here to stop this stall.
But you see Lucio just such a menace, right? Being able to use the speed for the team, get in, be offensive. His super is 1 HP. He's barely going to stay alive. They're going to keep him up. He's just trying to play outside of the cart. Anything to keep himself alive. So the Fuel in the red team still with an opportunity to push this. That is a filthy pulse bomb there.
Well, Glister was targeting the Ana, and I think Doha just happened to wander by and get taken down by the pulse bomb there.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky, Mitch.
My God. Nice to see a bit of Tayo action here. Hanbin there being hastily topped up by Fielder, as there's a nano boost on deck here for the Dallas Fuel, as Hanbin looks to try and take control of this high ground to make it so the shot can't just drop down on top of them and sort of select the squishy target in the backline. There's a pulse bomb here for Sparkle now, and he sees most of the shot group together on the high ground. That's going to be an amplification matrix thrown down, but quickly Sparkle goes past it into the backline. Hanbin tried to stay out of line of sight of that amplified Baptiste damage.
Oh, I mean, that is the best way to kind of deal with an amp matrix, right? Just not getting in the line of sight of it. And this is going to be Doha now on the high ground, getting that first pick and then popping the tag visor. This should be a fight that the red team's able to win.
I mean, there's not really anything that can be done to interact with him. The closest thing is Tayo, just to try and pepper Doha from a distance, but the Dallas Fuel have gotten those 2 checkpoints, and they've of course found a time extension after finding that one. So 2 minutes and 15 seconds to try and get as far as they can through this power plant.
And you still see a lot of the same power positions still be power positions, right? I think it's just allowing the teams to get a little bit more creative in terms of opening up more lanes for DPS, right? Allowing tanks to be a little bit more offensive without worrying of a team fully collapsing on them. And see Super right there on the high ground. He's able to pick up a kill, and this is something you never really see Winston able to do. Well, what he can't now is to kind of poke at range, right? Usually a Winston to do anything from that would have to get right back into the thing of things, but he can just play a little bit at range there and do some damage.
Yeah, much like the alternate fire on May's endothermic blaster, it's going to use sort of a larger amount of your ammunition and force you to sort of reload, but Hanbin out doesn't have to reload these fists. He gets hit with everything there. Tayo's trying to chase him there with a tactical visor. Hanbin able to evade him for the most part, but eventually he's going to be brought down by the Soldier 76. And look, this is Dallas that are sort of playing off of the cart here. Only 4 players alive. Sparkle has a pulse bomb and may not have to use it here, as FD God lingers a little too closely in his field of view for some time. Glister used his pulse bomb though and does find the target of Fielder.
Yeah, and they ended up using the red team, their sound barrier, because they know how difficult this part of the map is actually tough to get through. It's so difficult to get underneath that choke, get underneath that bridge and make its way through. And some changes here is that'll be a brig that comes in for the Dallas Fuel, the red team, is Jexit wants to really try and stop Glister from flanking, also Tayo.
Great fighter grenade there from Violet. That's absolutely perfect. We're going to look there at the Sombra play from Tayo and sort of going for hacks and not being revealed. That's filthy stuff from Super there to find 4. And Tayo, obviously, yeah, he hacks, doesn't get revealed, or at least he does for a split second, but he's able to sort of mostly stay in stealth. He's revealed there by a melee hit from Doha, who spots him, and Tayo has to get out with the translocator.
And you see those like individual big plays are now even bigger, right? In Overwatch 2, like a biotic grenade right there, able to finish them off. It's going to be a nano boost here on a super. They're trying to hold on defense.
Yeah, good defense by the looks of the shock, and Fielder can't do much at all about that. There it is. Super actually finds a kill with this longer range shot from the Winston. Looks like a scatter arrow on the kill feed, but it's pretty darn effective in the game itself. That's 2 for Violet as well, and Hanbin is the last one standing. Overtime will be short-lived by the looks of things here, as Hanbin is knocked out of his mech, and that will be the round. 2 checkpoints and about 43 meters of progress for the Dallas Fuel here.
Yeah, so pretty good offense there from the red team. Like I mentioned, it's very difficult to get the cart past where it is here, underneath the bridge, and kind of push towards that last moment. And I think they realized with how much time they had on the clock, it's kind of like, wager, like, do we have enough to get over the line even at the end, where they had to use the sound barrier there, because if they don't take it there, they're in a lot of trouble to not even complete the map.
Now we get to see the San Francisco Shock go on the attack, right? I'm curious to see how they try and get around that kind of oppressive high ground control that defenders get on this first part of the map. And obviously that way they're able to use Winston to drop down without having to, use his, his jetpack, and then he can go back up to safety. For the Dallas Fuel, though, so Doha on the Soldier 76 here, and will be Sparkle's Tracer, so not huge changes at all. This is, in my opinion, kind of the comfort picks for everybody on this team.
Well, and then you also see the D.Va come in, right? As D.Va as a solo tank. And just kind of the way that solo tank kind of it really will change over time is she has great defensive capabilities for herself and the team with Defense Matrix.
Oh.
And she's also one of the best. We're going to get a Roadhog action here.
They're going to TP the Roadhog and try and find an early pick here.
The D.Va can also really duel almost any hero in the game, right? Really good one-on-ones.
Oh! That is filthy. I mean, you have an idea, right, that someone's going to be playing on one of those buildings. Super has a split second to sort of, make sure someone's actually up there and find them. Little gimmicky, Matt, but it pays off. They find a kill on the enemy Tracer, which is huge.
And how I mentioned D.Va has great defensive capabilities with like Defense Matrix and mobility.
Yeah.
Roadhog's main defensive capabilities is just his body. Just kind of it just kind of takes up space with his body.
That's the same for walruses in the Arctic Circle, man. That's acceptable.
I don't know anything about that, so I'm just going to trust you on that one.
Well, Super finds another hook there. Sparkle's dropped into the back line, though. He's starting to put a little bit of pressure on Violet, and Hanbin joins him. That sole tank for the Dallas Fuel, assisting with the dive right now. Thinking less about being supportive and defensive, and more about following Sparkle into the void. And it pays off. This dive from the Dallas Fuel in a 5v5 format looks even scarier.
Yeah, and being able to see Hanbin here play the D.Va, it's just so much mobility, able to control the high ground. You see, you're really trying to play around. I know if you're the Shock, really Super's Roadhog here, trying to get the picks just like how they did early on. They weren't able to capitalize on it, though.
Hanbin there is a little low, but he's going to try and occupy that area above the bridge. I mean, there needs to be a lot of healing here. Look at all the damage coming Hanbin's way. He's going to be desuited now. That leaves the Dallas Fuel without any real durability or front line, but it won't matter because the Pulse Bomb's going to find FD God, and the Immortality Field is removed after the fact. Doha helping out there with the Tac Visor to remove that Immortality source.
Yeah, and this is going to be a whole hog from Super, is trying to just pick up any kills. Right there, he had to take a breather, so maybe if he was able to get that off, he would have lived a little bit longer as Roadhog, one of the hardest heroes to take down in the game. But we're going to see Super switch off. He's going to be playing the Reinhardt. So Reinhardt gets more offensive capabilities here in Overwatch 2, being able to control his charge a bit better and the extra fire strike.
Nice setup there. The Bionic Grenade made it impossible for Doha to be denied there. That's a beautiful point-blank Helix rocket connection as Tayo tries to blink across the gap at him. And well, the Dallas Fuel look absolutely frightening right now. Not much progress to speak of for the Shock, and they've got a long way to go.
It has been difficult for them to make any progress, right? You see, like, on all these split off one-on-one engagements, and they kind of coalesce, and a few players left for each team. They kind of come together in a team fight, and Dallas has just been so good at these.
Jackson, nice work. Swings into the doorway to make sure his team benefits from that sound barrier. I guess it's a little bit easy to make sure the whole squad gets a sound barrier now, but Jexa could have done it if it was difficult, surely. A lot of pressure on Super here. Even though Reinhardt has that power steering installed, right, that we've seen, he can, obviously corner much more easily. He can turn during that charge. Still lacks a little bit of mobility when you're being pressured down by Lucio.
And right there, I mean, just an incredible play, obviously, from a lot of the players on the red team, Dallas Fuel, but Fielder doing a job healing the entire team on the Ana, and then Sparkle with another pulse bomb. But if you caught it there for a second, he actually sleeps Tayo coming around on the Tracer. So an Ana who's able to make plays like that, it's going to be even more impactful for your team.
Fielder play for the high ground now. He's waiting for a Bionic Grenade vertically here. Yep. Nasty stuff. He gets 3, and Super especially is going to be affected or drop down because he knows the rest of the Dallas Fuel were joining him in that 4-8. Fielder able to get actually a safe position, and a parting gift on Tayo is eventually brought down. 18 seconds left in the round, and San Francisco haven't even made it to that first checkpoint for their first time bank extension.
Yeah, and they do not have many ults to work with. Just Super with the Shatter right now.
No chance to use this well. I mean, where do you even use it? Everyone's playing on the high ground. Here's the tactical visor, and super shield being circumvented by Doha, who drops into the backline. FD God's been eliminated. His mobility not going to get him out of the aimbot, and Super gets a shatter eventually, Map, but it really doesn't have the shock and awe factor it had to. Violet wins that 1v1, but he's in trouble, and there it is. Strong showing by the Dallas Fuel on this part of our collection of Overwatch 2 playthroughs. Thanks for joining us for this preview match from the Overwatch 2 playtest. You can catch more Overwatch 2 action, more from the best pros in the Overwatch League, and more from the two of us right here on the Play Overwatch YouTube channel. Stay tuned, and we'll see you then.